Hello YouTube, today we are working on my 2012 Toyota Prius V. I have a cigarette lighter or power source here, and I have a couple things I'd like to plug in, but between my phone charger and my dash cam and my cat massager and my bubble bath and all those things you want to plug in, there's just not enough spots. So what I want to do is add an extra one, which is this I bought online. It's just like a $10 power outlet, 12 volts, and so we're looking for a spot to put that in. And the first thing we need to do is some steps that I've already done, which is remove this whole center console so we can get access to it. So the first step, if you're looking to do this, is to actually go down on the side, which we're going to do in just a minute. Okay, I've already removed this little piece of cover here. This is in the driver's side, but basically this is the first step. What you want to do is pull from the rear away from the engine, pull on the right side of it as you're facing it, and then pop it out. And then there's also going to be a black clip here where my finger is that you'll remove with a screwdriver, like a flathead screwdriver. Pop that little clip out. It's a plastic clip. And then you're going to find the exact same thing on the passenger side. It looks just like this, but it's in the reverse. And you're going to want to be pulling out on the side that's closer to the rear of the vehicle. Okay, now I'm back towards the center console again, between the dashboard and the center console. I already did this step, but I removed this piece of foam, and there's a small bolt here with a 10mm head. So you're just going to want to take that out with a 10mm socket wrench and set that aside. And then my cameraman's going to go backwards a little bit. I'm going to open this center console and look inside here, and again, inside, if you look down in there, I don't know if we can focus on that, but there are 4 more 10mm bolts that I already removed. And just take those out, and once you do that, you're going to be able to lift this entire center console up and out. And you want to lift from the rear and pull, and it should just pop right out and pop away. And now there is a cable attached all the way underneath, so you won't be able to completely remove it. That will get you quite a ways towards your cigarette lighter. Okay, now I'm over in the passenger seat looking down towards the cigarette lighter. What I'm going to do is pull this panel out. You can also, if you want, you can take this glove box out. I think I should be able to do this without doing that. And you can kind of pry with something plastic. You can kind of pry a little bit here and pop this out. It's just plastic clips. It should come right out. All right, now I have this plastic bezel piece that I was after finally pulled out and accessible. On the driver's side or the left side here, I've got the seat warmer switches, and then I have the cigarette lighter, and then finally the USB port. So my original plan to access power for the new one is to just pull this out. I just unclipped this white one, and I was just going to piggyback off the wires here to wire in my new cigarette outlet, which I think I still will do. Another option though is to get a little plug-in adapter for your fuse box and set a new fuse and run that over, which you can maybe find tutorials about on other YouTube videos. But I think I will unwrap some of this nice Toyota wrapping and kind of fuse in, splice in a set of wires to get me my 12 volts. Okay, this is the cigarette lighter or 12 volt outlet plug that I just disconnected. And again, I have a 2012 Prius V, but this should be the same for any Prius V. I have connected to it a light green wire and a white wire with a black stripe. So light green and white with black stripe. And what I'm going to do now is check to see which one is positive and which one is negative using my multimeter. And you can use pretty much any little multimeter that that measures DC voltage. So now I believe this is currently off because the car is off, so I'm just gonna turn the car power, at least the accessory mode, on so I can test this. And of course, at some point you are going to want to disconnect your power, but before we do that, I want to know which wire is which. So I'll just put these probes in here. Requires a little bit of dexterity. And it's reading 11.2 volts, or about almost 12. So for me, that means the light green is the positive, and the white with the black stripe is negative. So light green is positive. Okay, looking back again at the way the car was set up before we modified things, I want to put my new 12-volt outlet roughly right below the other cigarette lighter outlet, and so it's going to go right around here. And to do that, I've got a 1-inch spade bit, and I'm just going to drill a hole right about here so that I can pop this in. And then what we will do is we will attach our positive and negative wires and then splice into that wire we just found. Again, like I said, some people may choose to wire it a little differently. That's up to you. Okay, I'm ready to drill my hole. I'm basically going to put it just right in the middle here of this lower panel, so it's basically going to be just below where the previous 12-volt outlet was. Here we go. Here goes nothing. That was fun. Okay, now we're going to see if our outlet will fit in here. I think it's going to be slightly too small. Yeah, it's just barely too small. I mean, the position's going to be fine, but I'm just going to come around with another drill bit and kind of grind out a little bit of that plastic, try to open it up a bit more. It's going to look kind of messy, but it'll be covered up by the outlet mostly, so we probably won't see any of that. Again, if you have a better tool, probably a Dremel type cutting tool might be better, or even a Sawzall. But that 1-inch spade bit was so close that I just thought I would do it this way. See if I can get that hole just right. It'll just take a little fussing and that hole will be large enough. Okay, now I've made my hole large, probably slightly too large, and it's pretty ugly looking, but like I said, once I cover this up, you're not gonna really see it. So I can pop that in now and screw this on, and it's basically going to look like that. So like I said, slightly too large, but I think if I put a drop of epoxy on here, you'll never notice. Okay, that next step we're going to do is splice into the positive and negative wires to the cigarette lighter. So remember, green is positive and the white with black stripe is negative. To do that, we're going to use these tap splices. I just got a little 6-pack here that's going to make it easy to splice into the wires. I'm going to wrap this around here. I'm going to do the negative one first. Okay, now I've got my red clips installed, which is a little tricky just because I had to reach my giant hands in there and it's a tight space. But I got the red clips to splice in my wires, so now I've got positive and negative coming off the cigarette lighter plug, and these are going to attach to my new cigarette lighter. So the next step, I'm just going to do a test with my multimeter to see if they're getting power and if I did the splice correctly. Okay, now we're going to check power on these two lines I just spliced in. So got the multimeter ready. I'm going to turn the car on, the electricity mode, or the accessory mode I mean, and just red to red and black to black. we should see 11 or 12 volts. And this is, again, making sure my splice is good. There we go. As you can see, I got 11.2 volts, which is what I measured earlier as well. Okay, then the next thing I did was to feed these black and red wires in through the hole I made. I'm going to connect positive to positive, negative to negative, and then pop my new outlet into this hole. There's a retaining ring. I'm going to bring this in from the back and thread that on. And then basically all that's left is to just tidy up your wires. I'm going to use some electrical tape to wrap some of those back up. And then all of the panels need to get put back on and just do everything in reverse. And that's a wrap. As you can see, we have finished up the whole project. I put all the panels back together, and this is our new cigarette lighter output. Tested it out and it works great. So now I can plug in everything I need and I have a little bit of extra power. Thanks for watching.